right, you fans, we're back with another weekly catch-up with Utah Lacrosse head coach Brian Holman. Coach, it's finally here. First home match of the season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank goodness. It's been a great 4 weeks, right? I mean, actually 8 weeks if you think about all of January and then all of February. So I know the guys are really excited. We just talked about the weather's going to be great. We're going to have, we can get parents at the game, which is going to be really nice. I mean, these guys work so hard, and to go out there and not play in front of anybody is. I haven't asked them how it felt. I once the game starts, I don't really sense it that much, but I'm sure for them it's different. So just looking forward to a really good contest, and just happy to have our guys be able to go out on our practice field and play a game. So
you guys have had a common opponent in Bellarmine. What do you think? What have you seen from them that you've been able to see from your game that you can compare the two from?
Yeah, not much from that game. That game kind of took it's almost the same course. They pulled away a little earlier than we did, but Jacksonville's good. I mean, they're a program that has been around for a while, and new head coach. I think this is John's 4th or 5th year, and his approach is a little bit different. He touts transfer you, and he's on the transfer portal a lot, and I think they got 10 to 15 guys on their team, John, that are transfers from other universities around the country. So, his method's a little different than our method. Our method's kind of more just homegrown and build from the, guys that want to be here. I don't spend a lot of time on the transfer portal, but all that being said, they're gonna present, some issues. They're very athletic. They play a very similar style of game to ours. Is they like to push transition. They like to run up and down the field. They work hard on the sub games, similar stuff that we do. So, I think it's going to be one of those games where whoever does what they do better than the next guy, because we do very similar things, is probably going to win the game.
You kind of led into my next question when you were talking about the similarities. How much of execution is like you said is key with you guys playing the same thing. It's different when you're playing your teammates and the same guys on your team at practice.
Yeah.
From game. How is that execution going to be?
Yeah, I think the question what I'm looking for tomorrow right out of the gate is how do we handle the pace of play? Jacksonville just plays fast. I mean, their midfielders are fast. They get on the field fast. They sub fast. We try to replicate that as much as you can in practice. But be quite honest with you, we're just not quite as athletic and as fast as they are. So how do we adjust to that, right? I think once we settle into that'll give us a breath, and then we'll be able to play our game after that. But that's the first thing I want to be looking for tomorrow's game is how do we handle the pace of play? Can we dictate the pace of play, or are they going to dictate it and we're reacting to it? So, and that's hard to replicate in practice all the time.
I'm going to repeat the same question I've asked you every week. What is the next step, after the last 4 games for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's just a regroup period. We're home for about 3 weeks. We have this game, and we have Westminster next week, and then we have a week off, and then we go back on the road again. So it's a great time to just reevaluate, reassess personnel, breaking down strengths and weaknesses, which we're going to do of our program at this point in time next week. But right now we're focused 100% on beating Jacksonville. We went down there last year and played a really good game. I know they're going to be excited to come out here and get back because they don't believe they should be losing to us. We don't really care about that. So I just think tackling this opponent and getting a W under our belt, and then next week and the week after just kind of reassess where we are, and then move forward into that second phase of the season, which is on the road again until May. But we'll deal with that when it comes.
you kind of spoke on it. Back-to-back home games. This week the weather's great. I talk about the timing of that and how things are shaping up.
Yeah, I mean, kind of put the schedule together that way. We're trying to avoid, especially without having the use of the football stadium this year, trying to avoid playing early games here in February and so on and so forth. So, just any which way we can be at home, we'll do it. But this kind of worked out well, where we're gonna have good weather and get fans. It's gonna really feel like a Lacrosse day, a springtime day in Salt Lake City. I'm just sad that we can't get our fans out to the game, but next year, be a whole different look, and hopefully we'll be able to bring 2,000-3,000 people out, into our home games next year and into our conference schedule. The other piece about Jacksonville, John, too, is that they're in the Southern Conference, which is going to be kind of the sister conference to the A-Sun. So, we maybe end up playing Jacksonville on a regular basis, every year. So, that might turn into a little bit of a rivalry as well. I kind of look at it as, just two different ways to build your program. I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong, but it's kind of cool how they've chosen to do theirs, and we've chosen to do it a little bit of a different way. So maybe that turns into a little rivalry as we go down the road here.
Not to look too far ahead, you're home for a couple weeks. You said you got the bye week. It's going to be a long stretch for the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
What do you what do you hope to see from your team? In that second half of the season, as you would call it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the target, right? So, who are we right now? Well, we kind of have an identity. We embrace the Road Warriors. It's kind of a gritty, part of our process, and the one thing, John, I don't want to lose sight of is COVID, right? We're still battling that, and that's the constant message with our team is, as I said at the beginning of the season, all I really want for these kids is to be able to play every single game on our schedule. Do we want to win them all? Sure, everybody. You're in this profession, you want to win, right? That's what we get paid to do. But for this season, I think it's a little bit of a different twist. I really do, and I'm not conceding anything. I want us to be able to play every single game. I want us to be able to show the country and show our school and our fans to be proud of that we have a program that resisted COVID and got on a plane 9 out of 12 weeks and traveled 30-some thousand miles, and so that it can be done, right? And that's kind of the message I want to be able to show out to people, like, we can beat this thing. So that's priority number one. And then priority number two is just a consistent growth. I looked out on the field against Loyola last week, and we battled hard with them, man. I give our guys a lot of credit. There's no excuses in this program, and that, but we flew across the country. We got off a plane at 5. We ate dinner at 6:30. We got up the next morning. We played an 11:30, game in Baltimore, which is 9:30 our time. And we battled with them. It was 4-2, it was 5-3, it was 9-6, and we couldn't make that play or two to kind of tighten the screws up. And they are clearly a top 10 program, clearly, physically, ability-wise, everything. And then I subbed most of our guys in at about 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter. It was 11-6, and I knew we weren't going to win. And I wanted those guys to have a chance to get on the field, as many guys as we could. So we accomplished what we wanted out of that, but I want our guys to take the next step. And I looked out on that field. What my point was is, on attack, I had two freshmen and a sophomore, playing against 3 fifth-year seniors, and dang if we were holding up all right, So not lose sight of that. That's 5 years on those guys, and I just envisioned for a minute, 10 seconds, what that attack's going to look like 3 or 4 years from now, right? And I got a smile on my face, and I was just proud of our guys. So, we know who we are, we know the battles that we fight, but we're more than willing to fight them, and it's just going to be continued growth and continue to beat COVID and continue to play the next game that's on our schedule.
Kind of back to your point about being able to play every game on your schedule this year, how indicative is that of your guys just doing the right thing, making sure that they're staying safe and being able to play?
That's everything. It's everything. It says a lot about our program. It says a lot about our culture. It says a lot about our leaders. It says a lot about their willingness, right? You know, we're severe underdogs everywhere we go. All right, and I think, again, I don't want people to lose sight of that. Like, we're a third-year program. We haven't been around for 10 years. We've had some success in our first couple of years, and I think people I think outside world has a lot higher expectations of what we should look like. But the reality is we're a third-year program, and we are severe underdogs. And when you think about that as an 18-year-old young man, oh boy, I got to get on this plane again and go play Mercer or Boston University or Virginia or Syracuse. That's kind of a daunting task, right? That's not the way I think our guys are approaching this. They're approaching it as, that's the next game. Let's be prepared. Let's do our best. And let's do what we're supposed to do, and let's go compete. So I give everybody, all those kids, a lot of credit, and I give our staff a lot of credit to continue to motivate and encourage these guys to do the right thing. And I think if we can accomplish that mission this year, I think that'll bode really, really well for us going into the next year and the year after. To have all these young guys play so many minutes against so many quality opponents. So, you know, there's two facets to this. You know, it's the competitive piece and wanting to win, and there's the bigger picture piece of we are continuing to build our program and to be able to look at the small victories along the way that's allowing our program to develop. You know, that's my job, and I'm really proud of where we are right now. I don't really pay much attention to the record. Yeah, we want to win Saturday, but if we don't, we put our best foot forward out there, we play our butt off, and we go toe-to-toe with those guys. Yeah, all right, I'm good with that. Let's move on to the next thing. So I'm just really, really proud of our guys at this point, but we're only 5 games in, and that's what point I made to him the other day in practice. You know, we're halfway through our season calendar-wise, but we've got 8 games ahead of us, right? So, you know, we haven't done anything yet.
You kind of talked about, you know, you are a third-year program, and technically it's probably what total maybe 2 with last year.
It's 2.5 if you wanted to get nitpicky about it, and I
do
because it does factor into it, right? You lose a half a year, and you also lose most of your fall, right? Now we know everybody's in the same boat, but we're the youngest program in Division I, so it affects us more or deeper than it does everybody else.
Well, what I was trying to say earlier was like, you know, you are a young program, and sometimes on the broadcast, you know, the guys are pretty complimentary. You know, when you guys are playing Denver pretty close, you know, you held, you know, Loyola up until the 4th.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of forget that you guys are a third-year program, and then they, you know, as the game goes on, they're like, oh wait, you know, this is only a third-year program.
Yeah. I feel that a little bit in the lacrosse world. I don't know why. I don't even know why. It doesn't bother me, but I don't know. I don't know why people look at us so differently than some other programs. And, you know, I go, you know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's just about us continuing to push forward with our program and our development and continuing to encourage these kids to grow and push themselves past what they believe that they can do. And I think that's something we do well as a staff is our guys believe that they're maybe better than they are. I don't know, right? Like, and I want them to believe that. But, you know, again, it's bigger picture stuff, and I'm clearly aware of where we stand and what we need to do. And, you know, my goal when we came out here was within the first 5 years of having a program in a conference. Now, people got to understand that. It was to get into the national playoffs, and it still is. So we get our first year in our conference next year. You know, we're well on our way towards achieving our goals when it comes to competing. And we're really well on our way to achieving our goals when it comes to, you know, who we want to look like and type of people we want to be. And Saturday I'm excited because I'm excited for our guys to go out there and really just expose to everybody, that hadn't seen us in a while, what Utah lacrosse is all about. We're going to play hard, we're going to play fast, we're going to make mistakes for sure, and at times we may even look overwhelmed. All right, but that's not going to deter us from continuing to push forward, and that's the mentality our guys have.
You talk about big picture, long term. Playing all these good teams. As freshmen and sophomores, that's your goal, making the national tournament in 5 years. Obviously reps are gonna play a big factor in that, and being able to play great opponents will lead you to kind of instinctual things later on when it happens. As a junior or senior.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty big in my mind for them moving forward and for the program.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's it. That's why we're doing it. I want them to struggle. I just look at it. Tyler Bradbury. Kid's 5'8", weighs 153 pounds, and he's out there playing against a defenseman from Loyola who will be probably a second or a third team All-American. The kid's 6'4", 225 pounds, and left-handed, and a fifth-year senior. And he is beating the daylights out of Tyler. All right? But I saw no back down in Tyler whatsoever. Now, did he get rattled a couple times and turn the ball over? Yep, absolutely. But he understood after the game he caused that. The defender didn't cause it. He caused it just by not having experienced that kind of situation before. And so I expect Tyler this week to be better, and so does he. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what we're talking about. That's the victory. The victory isn't, did we beat, I don't know what teams in the country are worse than us, but there are some that we could probably schedule and win by 10 goals. And Tyler could have 6 goals in that game. But I'm not sure that that's going to make him a better lacrosse player down the road and be able to lead us into a championship in our conference and so on. So, we're willing to sacrifice some victories right now to go. I've told you this. If I could schedule, out of 12 games, if I could schedule 10 out of the top 15 teams in the country, I would, 100%. Cole Brahms, our face-off guy, he's not going to get better facing off against guys that are much weaker than him. And that's iron sharpens iron, and you can use all the cliches in the world, man, but experiencing that will, now the experience alone isn't going to improve our players, right? It's experiencing it, stepping back, and then saying, all right, what did I learn from this? And then how do I have to change my game and or improve my game? Because just because Tyler played that kid last week, if he doesn't recognize where his faults were or what he can do better, and then he goes out here Saturday, he's not going to be any better. That's our job as coaches, to continue to help them kind of refine that process. But you look at our team come back next year. I think we lose 4 or 5 guys, and for the majority of our team, they'll have gone through, if we can play all these games, baptism by fire, and it's no better teaching experience. I can't coach them better than, like I told you, than Denver playing them.
Right.
And and Loyola playing them, and Virginia playing them, and Syracuse playing. Holy cow. So you got to just bite the bullet a little bit, and it's some humble pie for me and my staff. I mean, we're not used to losing games, and I don't want to. That's not our culture. But you got to bite the bullet a little bit to get to where you want to get to.
All right, Brian. Thank you for your time as always. Another game to get experience this Saturday at 1 p.m. against Jacksonville. We'll have a live stream for you. Good luck.
Awesome, John. Thank you, buddy. Go Utes.